जयो राधा माधवा जया कुंज बिहारी जयो राधा माधवा जया कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवराधारी जय गिरिवराधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवराधारी जय गिरिवराधारी जय यशोधनंदना जय ब्रजनरंजना जय यशोधनंदना जय ब्रजनरंजना जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधे जय राधे श्याम राधे श्याम जय राधे श्याम जय गिरि गोवर्धन गिरि गोवर्धन जय गिरि गोवर्धन जय वरहान सिंह जय नरसिंह देव वरहान सिंह जय नरसिंह देव जय वृंदे देवी वृंदे देवी जय वृंदे देवी जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय निताय गो प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नश्च प्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दं माधवं चैतन्य जगदीश्वरम्। कथांचन स्मृते यस्मिन् दुष्करं सुकरं भवेत् विस्मृते विपरीतं स्यात् श्रीचैतन्यानुमामितं। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त गोविन्द स्वामी। So, Rao Prabhu, just I will share one glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam, then you can share the Srimad Bhagavatam. Is that okay, Prabhu?
Sure.
You can see the screen, right?
No, not yet. We can see Rao Prabhu's screen. Yeah, your screen is visible now. Yeah.
Okay. So this is glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam by Sanatana Goswami. Okay. We can read together. Okay. सर्वशास्त्राब्धि पीयूषा सर्ववेदैक सत्फला सर्वसिद्धांत रत्नाद्या सर्वलोकैक दृक्पदा सर्वभागवत प्राणं श्रीमद्भागवता प्रभो कलिद्वंतोदितादित्य श्रीकृष्ण परिवर्तिता परमानंद पाठाय प्रेम वर्षक्षरायते सर्वदा सर्वसेव्याय श्री कृष्णाय नमोस्तुते. Sorry, somebody can read the translation for the first verse.
Yeah, I'll read. O life breath of the Vaishnava devotees, O Lord, you are the sun which has risen to dispel the darkness of Kali Yuga. You are actually Lord Krishna who has returned among us.
Also, somebody can read verse number 2 also.
O Srimad Bhagavatam, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. By your recitation, one attains transcendental bliss, because your syllables shower pure love of God upon the reader. You are always to be served by everyone, for you an incarnation of Lord Krishna.
Madeka bandhu matsangin madguru man mahadana Mannistaraka madbhagya madananda namostute.
O Srimad Bhagavatam, O my only friend, O my companion, O my teacher, O my great wealth, O my deliverer, O my good fortune, O my bliss, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you.
Asadu saduta dain ati nichochata kara Ana muncha kada chinman premna hrut kanto yospro kanta yospura.
Hare Krishna. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O bestower of saintliness of the unsaintly, O uplifter of the most fallen, please don't ever leave me. Accompanied by pure love of Krishna, please manifest yourself in my heart and in my throat. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank
Mataji. So such a wonderful prayer by Srila Sanatana Goswami. He's praying, like this Srimad Bhagavatam is the life breath of Vaishnava devotees. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the sun which has risen to dispel the darkness of Kali Yuga. So we know in Srimad Bhagavatam also there is a verse which says, Krishne Sodamopagate Dharma Gnanadibhi Saha Kalo Nasta Drushamesha Puranarko Dunoditaha. So after, this is one of the 6 questions asked by the sages of Naimisharanya to Sutta Goswami. So where did the religious principles took shelter after Krishna left this universe, after completing his past? Where did this religion took shelter? For that, they say, Krishna Swadamo Pagate. So after Krishna going back to his own abode, along with Dharma and Gnana. So then, Kalo Nasta Drushamesha, those who have lost their vision, they can they can see through this Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam, it's called as Purana Arka, means it's compared to the sun, because the sun, due to whenever there is a sun, or there is no darkness, right? So even Sanatana Goswami is also praying in the same way. This Srimad Bhagavatam will dispel the darkness of Kali Yuga. And so in the second verse, he says he's offering his prayers because simply by recitation, one attains transcendental bliss. And because these syllables shower pure love of Godhead upon the leader, upon the reader. So you are always be served by everyone, for you are an incarnation of Lord Krishna. In the second verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, it's stated, Dharma projito kaitava atra paramo nirmatsaranam satam. So this Srimad Bhagavatam is the real Purana. Means, and the people will start studying Srimad Bhagavatam after rejecting all the Kaitava Dharmas. So why Vasudevji is telling Kaitava Dharma? Because there, in even though the other scripture also written by Srila Vasudev, there he is emphasized more on Karma Kanda. So I think around 96 to 97% he talked about Karma Kanda. So a common person, like an ignorant person, he doesn't know anything about this spirituality. So he reads these Puranas, which is compiled by Vasudev himself. Then he comes to the conclusion, yes, what is the harm? It's given in this Purana, so I should follow this. So thereby he get entangled in this karmakandic way of life. So he will get into the cycle of repeated birth and death. Means what he will do, he will take a birth and he will start indulging in the karmakandic activities. Then he will be promoted to higher planetary system. Then, as we know, in higher planetary system, the enjoyment and the duration of life is, many folds compared to this material world. So in that way, he get lost. So that's what he's praying. Then this verse is very beautiful verse. Madeka bandhu mat sangin mat guru man mahadana man nistaraka mad bhagya madhananda namostute. He says, O Srimad Bhagavatam, Madeka bandhu, he is only my friend. So mat sangin, he is only my companion. O my teacher, he is Madguru. He is Man Mahadana. O my great wealth. Man Nistaraka. O my deliverer. Mad Bhagya. O good fortune. Madananda. O bliss. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. In sense, like this Srimad Bhagavatam is our only friend, is our only companion, he is our only teacher, and he is our only great wealth, and he is only our deliverer, and he is only our good fortune, and he is the only who provides bliss. And to that scripture, he is offering his obeisances. And not only that, even this Srimad Bhagavatam is capable of asadu saduta dain. Even it will bestow uh, to the saintliness to the unsaintly people. Even somebody takes up to reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, even if they are unsaintly, they will become saintly. So, and it is the uplifter of the most fallen people. So then he is praying, please don't ever leave me. So accompanied by a pure love of Krishna, please manifest yourself in my heart and in my throat. So with that prayer, we start today's class. So yeah, Rao Prabhu, now you can share. So now we're in the second canto. So are you back, Rao Prabhu?
Prabhuji, little issue at my end. I'm connecting from another laptop. Give me a couple of minutes, Prabhuji.
No issue. Okay. So now we are in the second canto, chapter 4. This chapter entitled Process of Creation. So just a recap before we get into today's discussion. So initially, Sutta Goswami describes what happens. Like Parikshit, he concentrates his mind on Krishna. Then Parikshit detaches himself from the material things and inquires. And Parikshit Maharaj questions. He questions to Shukadev Goswami, your words are enlightening. And he says, how does Lord create, maintain, and destroy this universe? And how does he enact the primary and secondary creations? Then he also asks, the Lord's activities are wonderful and inconceivable. How does he expand himself? Then Shukadev Goswami, before addressing all these questions, he offered his obeisances to the Lord, and he invokes his mercy. Then he started speaking. So far we have covered up to 17, right? No, up to 17. Yeah, 17 we have connected. So now we will start from verse number 18. Prabhupada, you want me to share?
Yes, Prabhuji, still I'm logging in.
Don't worry, I'll share. Yeah. You can see the screen, Prabhus?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Okay. We'll read this verse. This is one of the beautiful verse. It says, Kirata hunandra pulinda pulkasham abira shumba yavana kashadayaha ye anye cha papa yad apashrayashrayah shuddyanti tasmai prabhavishnave namaha.
I can tell the translation, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Translation. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
You can read now, Prabhu. You want me to increase the font or is it okay?
No, I have it on my laptop also, Prabhuji. Kirtha, Puna, Andhra, Pulanda, Pulkasha, Abirha, Subama, Sumbha, Yavana, members of the
Khasa race or even others addicted to sinful acts can be purified by taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord. Due to his being the supreme power, I beg to offer my respectful obeisance unto him. Purport. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Kirtha. Kiratha. A province of old Bharata Varasa mentioned in the Bhishma Parva of Mahabharata. Generally, the Kirathas are known as the abnormal, aboriginal tribes of India, and in modern days, the Santhal Paraganas in Bihar and Chota Nagpur might comprise the old province named Kiratha. Pune, the area of East Germany and parts of Russia, is known as the province of the Punas. Accordingly, sometimes a kind of hill tribe is known as the Punas. Andhra, a province in southern India mentioned in the Bhishma Parva of Mahabharata. It is still extant under the same name. Pulinda. It is mentioned in the Mahabharata Adi Parva 174.38, with the inhabitants of the province of the name Pulinda. This country was conquered by Bhima Sena and Sahadeva. The Greeks are known as Pulindas, and it is mentioned in the Vana Parva of Mahabharata that the non-Vedic race of this part of the world would rule over the world. This Pulinda province was also one of the province of Bharatha, and the inhabitants were classified amongst the Kshatriya kings. But later on, due to their giving up the Brahminical culture, they were mentioned as Melichas, just as those who are not followers of the Islamic culture are called Kafirs, and those who are not followers of the Christian culture are called heathens. Abhihira. This name also appears in Mahabharata, both in the Sabha Parava and Bhishma Parava. It is mentioned that this province was situated on the river Saraswati in Sindh. The modern Sindh province formerly extended on the other side of the Arabian Sea, and all the inhabitants of this province were known as the Abhiras. They were under the domination of Maharaja Yudhishthira, and according to the statements of Markandeya, the Melchas of this part of the world would also rule over Bharatha. Later on, this proved to be true, as in the case of the Pulindas. On behalf of the Pulindas, Alexander the Great conquered India, and on behalf of the Abhiras, Muhammad Ghori conquered India. These Abhiras were also formerly Kshatriyas within the Brahminical culture, but they gave up the connection. The Kshatriyas who were afraid of Parashurama and had hidden themselves in the Caucasian hilly region later on became known as the Abhiras, and the place they inhabited was known as Abhira Desa. Sumbas or Kanakas, the inhabitants of the Kanaka province of Old Bharata mentioned in the Mahabharata. Yavanas. Yavana was the name of one of the son of Maharaja Yayati, who was given the part of the world known as the Turkey to rule. Therefore, the Turks or Yavanas, due to being descendants of Maharaja Yavana, the Yavanas were therefore Kshatriyas, and later on, they giving up the Brahminical culture, they became Milicha Yavanas. Description of the Yavanas are in the Mahabharata, Adi Parva 85.34. Another prince called Turvasu was also known as Yavana, and his country was conquered by Sahadeva. Sahadeva, one of the Pandavas. The western Yavana joined with Duryodhan in the battle of Kurukshetra under the pressure of Karna. It was also foretold that these Yavanas also would conquer India, and it proved it to be true. Khasa, the inhabitants of the Kasadesa are mentioned in the Mahabharata, Drona Parva. Those who have a stunned growth of hair on the upper lip are generally called Khasas. As such, the Khasas are the Mongolians, the Chinese, and others who are so designated. The above mentioned historical names are different nations of the world. Even those who are constantly engaged in sinful acts are all correligible to the standard of perfect human being, if they take shelter of the devotees of the Lord. Jesus Christ and Muhammad, two powerful devotees of the Lord, have done tremendous service on behalf of the Lord on the surface of the globe. And from the version of the Srila Sukadev Goswami, it appears that instead of running a godless civilization in the present context of the world situation, if the leadership of the world affairs is entrusted to the devotees of the Lord, for which a worldwide organization under the name and style of the International Society of Krishna Consciousness has already been started, by the grace of the Almighty Lord, there can be a thorough change of heart in human being all over the world, because the devotees of the Lord are able authorities to effect such a change by purifying the dust-worn minds of the people in general. The politicians of the world may remain in their respective position because the pure devotees of the Lord are not interested in political leadership or diplomatic implications. The devotees are interested only in seeing that the people in general are not misguided by political propaganda, and that the valuable life of a human being is not spoiled in following a type of civilization which is ultimately doomed. If the politicians, therefore, would be guided by the good counsel of the devotees, then certainly there would be a great change in the world situation by purifying propaganda of the devotees. As shown by Lord Chaitanya, as Sukadev Goswami began his prayers by discussing the world Yatha Kirtanam, so also Lord Chaitanya recommended that simply by glorifying the Lord's holy name, a tremendous change of heart can take place, by which the complete misunderstanding between the human nations created by politicians can at once be extinguished. And after the extinction of the fire of misunderstanding, other profits will follow. The destination is to go back home, back to Godhead, as we have several times discussed in these pages. According to the cult of devotion, generally known as the Vaishnava cult, there is no bar against anyone's advancing in the matter of God realization. A Vaishnava is powerful enough to turn into Vaishnava, even the Kirtha, etc., as above, Kairatha, etc., as above mentioned. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.32, it is said by the Lord that there is no bar to become a devotee of Lord, even for those who are low-born or women, Sudras or Vaishyas. And by becoming a devotee, everyone is eligible to return home back to Godhead. The only qualification is that one takes shelter of a pure devotee of the Lord who has thorough knowledge in the transcendental science of Krishna, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Anyone from any part of the world who becomes well conversant in the science of Krishna, becomes a pure devotee and a spiritual master for the general mass of people and may reclaim them by purification of the heart. Though a person be even the most sinful man, he can at once be purified by systematic contact with pure Vaishnavas. Vaishnava. A Vaishnava, therefore, can accept a bona fide disciple from any part of the world without any consideration of caste and creed and promote him by regulative principles to the status of pure Vaishnava, who is transcendental to Brahminical culture. The system of caste or Vaishnava Varnashrama Dharma is no longer regular even amongst the so-called followers of the system, nor is it now possible to re-establish the institutional function in the present context of social, political, and economic revolution. Without any reference to the particular custom of a country, one can be accepted to the Vaishnava cult spiritually, and there is no hindrance in the transcendental process. So, by the order of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the cult of Srimad Bhagavatam or the Bhagavad Gita can be preached all over the world, reclaiming all persons willing to accept the transcendental cult. Such cultural propaganda by the devotees will certainly be accepted by all persons who are responsible and inquisitive, without any particular bias for the custom of the country. The Vaishnava never accepts another Vaishnava as the basis of birthright, just as he never thinks of the deity of the Lord in a temple as an idol. And to remove all doubts in this connection, Srila Sukadev Goswami has invoked the blessing of the Lord, who is all powerful. Prabha Vaisnave Namaha. As the all-powerful Lord accepts the humble service of his devotee in devotional activities of the Archana, his form as the worshipable deity in the temple. Similarly, the body of a pure Vaishnava changes transcendentally at once when he gives himself up to the service of Lord and is trained by a qualified Vaishnava. The injunction of the Vaishnava regulation in this connection runs as follows. Archya Visanu. I am not able to read this clearly.
Arche Vishnu Shiladir Gurushu Naramati Vaishnave Jati Buddhi Sri Vishnu Nami Shabda Samanya Buddhi, etc. One should not
consider the deity of the Lord as worshipped in the temple to be an idol, nor should one consider the authorized spiritual master an ordinary man, nor should one consider a pure Vaishnava to belong to a particular caste, etc. Padma Purana. The conclusion is that the Lord, being all-powerful, can, under any and every circumstances, accept anyone from any part of the world, either personally or through his bona fide manifestation as the spiritual master. Lord Chaitanya accepted many devotees from communities other than the Varnashramites, and he himself declared to teach us that he does not belong to any caste or social order of life, but that he is the eternal servant of Lord, who maintains the themselves of Vrindavan, Lord Krishna. That is the way of self-realization. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Hare Krishna. Sorry, Prabhuji, I made a lot of mistakes, I think, while pronouncing many of the other words.
Thank you, Prabhu. So that's an amazing purport, and it's a very long purport. So, these are the different places of the world, like Kirata, Huna, Andhra, Pulinda, Pulkasha, Abhira, Shumba, Yavana, and Kasa. So these people are considered the most sinful people on the earth. They are indulged in so many abominable works. So that's the reason they are considered as very, very impious people and very, very abominable people.
Why
But
is Andhra coming into the picture, Prabhuji?
even Andhra also, Prabhu, like what we have that Andhra Pradesh now, it is also
Yeah.
considered as it's like most abominable place.
Okay, they were also not believers or
Yeah,
followers.
no, yeah. Now also, if you see na Prabhu, of course there are few Vaishnavas are there. There are Vaishnava temples are there, but in spite of that, there is a lot of what do you call abominable things goes on. In terms of meat eating and other things. Till now also this state is number one in meat consumption. Okay, even till today. So
Okay,
anyway,
Prabhuji.
yeah, in Srimad Bhagavatam it is mentioned. Maybe those days it could have been much more. Okay, and this one you see Kirata Huna Andhra. So we have seen this Kirata is a place. The Kirata it's from Bihar. Like in the pranganas of Bihar and Chota Nagpur area, this Kirata belongs. So also Huna is like there from the East Germany and part of Russia. Then Andhra, we know it's Andhra Pradesh. Then Pulinda. Pulinda is they are the Greeks. And Abhira. Abhira is those who are staying on the border of Saraswati in Sindh France. And they're called as Malechas. So like these people can be termed as this Turkeys and Mohammedans. Like Prabhupada writes here, this Alexander and Muhammad Gori. So these are the Abiras, and later on we have the Shumba and our Kankas. They are inhabitants of Kanka province of Old Bharat. It's mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Mahabharat. Then Yavanas again they are the Turks, and they are the descendants of Yayati. So and Khasa is nothing but they are from Chinese. So it's now we know there are a lot of devotees in China. We call them as Khasa Desh. So and these people are such an abominable people. They are always engaged in some kind of sinful activities, such as they don't follow any four regulative principles. Even there is no culture at all. So it's like animal civilization. And and initially these are all the parts of India. Now thanks to archaeology department, now we are finding in different parts of the world, when they are excavating, they're finding some temples or something which related to Indian culture, which is dated back, like 2000 years, 3000 years, thanks to them. So this proves initially this all were ruled by the Bharat Varsha. This whole world is known as Bharat Varsha. And also like how these people are migrated to different areas, because like when Parashuram, he has taken a oath to kill all the Kshatriyas for 21 times, and these people are scattered on different parts of the world, and they were hiding from him. So that is the one reference we get from Puranas. And these people are originally they are the they were the Kshatriyas, but because of the fear of Parashuram, they migrated elsewhere, and their culture has become they have become they've fallen down from the culture. They have become brashta. Then they have taken up to this abominable work, as a result of which so now all these things we are seeing today. And even these people, by somehow or other, if they take up to the Krishna consciousness, so then they can be liberated. Such is the mercy of Lord Krishna. And we are seeing this practically. Even all these people mentioned, there are so many devotees who are practicing the Krishna consciousness, and their lives have been transferred. like transform. Like, Kasha Des I mentioned, there are so many wonderful devotees who are very, very austere, though they are they don't have freedom to practice the religion, but they underground they practice this religion, and they are serving the Lord to their greater capacity. Even some few of our sannyasis also in the past, they went to the Kasadesh, which is China, in the pretext of, like teaching English. And, that was only the external designation. But inside they used to preach Krishna consciousness like Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. And there are so many wonderful devotees. Even so many sannyasis also in present day, they visit, and they will, of course, they cannot hold the classes publicly, but somehow they make some arrangement, known as yoga center or something, and they practice Krishna consciousness. And also like Turkey, Turkey we mentioned, no? In Turkey also we have wonderful centers, and Srila Prabhupada here mentions, our Krishna consciousness movement is to uplift all the people across the globe. So that is why it is called as International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So whenever all these people, irrespective of their religious background, and once they take up to Krishna consciousness, so they will be transformed. That is the aim of Krishna Consciousness Society, that is modern mission of Srila Prabhupada, which is working very effectively till today. We can see ourselves. I know all over the world. Today, you go anywhere in the world, you will have some devotees, practicing Krishna consciousness. You go to the Lebanon, you go to the any other part of the world, you name it, even to the Ireland. So Ireland, it's there's only few people are living in Ireland. So there also you will find some devotees. Such is the glory of Krishna conscious movement. That is the glory of Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So that is because why Srila Prabhupada has stick to this Bhagavata culture, and he spread this culture of Bhagavatam. It is spreading all over the world. So we are moving to the verse number 19.
I will share the screen, Prabhu. I am back.
Yeah. Yeah. स एष आत्मात्वतम् अधीश्वर sorry स एष आत्मात्मवताम् अधीश्वरः त्रयीमयो धर्मयस्तपोमयः गथा व्यालिखिरज शङ्करादिभिः विरक्त्यो लिङ्गो भगवान् प्रसीदिताम्.
Translation, Prabhu. He is the super soul and the supreme lord of all realized souls. He is the personification of the Vedas, religious scriptures, and austerities. He is worshipped by Lord Brahma and Shiva and all those who are transcendental to all pretensions. Being so revered with eve and venation, may that supreme absolute be pleased with me. The Supreme Lord, the personality of the Godhead, although the Lord of all followers of different paths of self-realization, is knowable only by those who are above all pretensions. Everyone is searching for eternal peace or eternal life, and with an aim to this destination, everyone is either studying the Vedic scriptures or other religious scriptures or undergoing severe austerity as empiric philosophers or mystic yogis or as unalloyed devotees, etc. But the Supreme Lord is perfectly realized only by the devotees because they are above all pretensions. Those who are on the path of self-realization are generally classified as karmis, jnanis, yogis, or devotees of the Lord. The karmis, who are much attached to the fruitive activities of the Vedic rituals, are called bhukti kami, or those who desire material enjoyment. The Jnanis who try to become one with the Supreme, by mental speculation are called Muktikami, or those who desire liberation from material existence. The mystic yogi who practice different types of austerities for attainment of 8 kinds of material perfection and who ultimately meet the super soul, Paramatma in trance, are called Siddhikami, or those who desire the perfection of becoming finer than the finest, becoming heavier than the heaviest, getting everything desired, having control over everyone, creating everything liked, etc. All these are abilities of powerful yogi. But the devotees of the Lord do not want anything like that for self-realization. They want only to serve the Lord because the Lord is great, and as living entities, they are eternally subordinate parts and parcels of the Lord. This perfect realization of the self by the devotee helps him to become desireless, to desire nothing for his personal self, and thus the devotees are called nishkami, without any desire. A living entity, by his constitutional position, cannot be void of all desires. The Bhuktikami, Muktakami, or Siddhakami all desire something for personal satisfaction. But the Nishkami, devotees of the Lord, desire everything for the satisfaction of the Lord. They are completely dependent on the orders of the Lord and are always ready to discharge their duty for the satisfaction of the Lord. In the beginning, Arjun placed himself as one of those who desire self satisfaction, for he desired not to fight in the battle of Kurukshetra, but to make him desireless. The Lord preached the Bhagavad Gita, in which the ways of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Hatha Yoga, and also the Bhakti Yoga were explained. Because Arjun was without any pretensions, he changed his decision and satisfied the Lord by agreeing to fight Kshetriya vacuum tattva, and thus he became desireless. The examples of Brahma and Lord Shiva are specifically cited here because Brahmaji, Lord Shiv, Srimati Lakshmi, and the 4 Kumaras, Sanak Sanatan, are leaders of 4 desireless Vaishnav Sampradayas. They are all freed from all pretensions. Srila Jiva Goswami interprets the word Gata Vyakala as Prozit Kevatya, or those who are freed from all pretensions, the unalloyed devotees only. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 19.149, it is said, Krishna Bhakt Nishkam Et Ev Shanta Bhukti Mukti Siddhakami Sakali Ashanta. Those who are after fruitive results for their pious activities, those who desire salvation and identify with the Supreme, and those who desire material perfections of mystic power are all restless because they want something for themselves. But a devotee is completely peaceful because he has no demand for himself and is always ready to serve the desire of the Lord. The conclusion is therefore that the Lord is for everyone because no one can achieve the result of his respective desires without his sanctions. But as stated by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita 8.9, all such results are awarded by him only. For the Lord is Adhishvara, the original controller of everything, namely the Vedantists, the great Karm Kandis, the great religious leaders, and the great performers of austerity, and all who are striving for spiritual advancement. But ultimately, he is realized by the pretensionless devotees only. Therefore, special stress is given to the devotional service of the Lord by Srila Sukdev Goswami. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, yet another long purport. So in this, he is against Shukadev Goswami is praying. He is a super soul. He is a supreme lord of all self-realized souls. He is the personification of the Vedas, religious scriptures, and austerities. He is worshipped by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and all those who are transcendental to pretensions. Being so reversed with awe and veneration, may that supreme absolute be pleased with me. So again here he is further glorifying the Supreme Lord as the he is a source of he is the Lord of all self-realized souls. He is the Atma Rama himself. Atma Rama in the first canto we have read. Atma Ramastamunayo Nirgranta Api Varukrame. So he's self-satisfied. He doesn't require anything else. But for the pleasure of devotees, he accepts all these things, all the services the devotees render to him. So again, he is worshipped by all the great personalities such as Mahajanas. We know like there are 12 Mahajanas. Swayambhu, Narada, Shambhu, Kumara, Kapilomano, Prahlada, Janaka, Bhishmo, Balir, Vayasakir, Vayam. So who are they? Swayambhu. Swayambhu is Lord Brahma. Narada. Narada is Narad Muni. Shambhu. Shambhu. Then Kumara means 4 Kumaras. Kapila. Kapila Dev. Manu. Manu. Swayambhu Manu. Kapila Manu. Prahlada. Janaka. Bhishma. Balir. Vayasaki. Vayasaki is nothing but Shukadev Goswami. And Vayam means Vayam is Yamadharmaraj. Because this verse is spoken by Yama, so he is addressing himself as I am, Vayam. So such is the glory of the Lord. And again, so when somebody take up to the service of the Lord without any pretentious, then Lord will start giving his mercy. Even somebody does it with the pretension. Pretension means like pretending. So even still he will be purified. There is a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. It says, even if somebody chants the holy name of the Lord jokingly or imitatingly, still they will get a benefit. It states that, Sanketam Parihasyam va Stokam Slobana Hevacha. So means if somebody, like we see somebody will jokingly, they will say, okay, oh, this Hare Krishna people are like this, like that. Still they will get the benefit. Like in this connection, there was one time Srila Prabhupada went to Australia. So when he went there, there was a press conference, and the press conference they came and they interviewed Srila Prabhupada, and they wrote an article about ISKCON. Though that article was not so favorable to ISKCON, but there was a published. And so next day when they published in the newspaper, and Srila Prabhupada asked his disciples, how many times Krishna's name mentioned in this article? Because Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj, His Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he would judge an article by how many times the Krishna's name are mentioned in it. So he asked his disciples, how many times did Krishna's name appear in that article? The devotee said, Srila Prabhupada, there are 17 times. Then Prabhupada asked his disciples, this newspaper, how many copies they circulate every day? So this was a leading newspaper in Australia, and they would distribute 2 million copies every single day. Then Srila Prabhupada said, 2 million times 17. Means it is like 34 million times Krishna's name is chanted. It's very good. So somehow, like Krishna's name is so powerful, directly or indirectly, they will get the benefit. And also here Srila Prabhupada quotes, the verse, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama. He quotes from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama, Ata Eva Shanta, Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami, Sakali Ashanta. So Krishna devotees, they are always, Shanta. They don't have any hankering. Whereas those who are Bhukti Kami, Bhukti means who wants to enjoy this material world. Bhukti Kami, those who are desiring liberation. Then Siddhi Kami, somebody who wants to acquire some siddhis. All these people are Ashanta. They're all hankering, until they get their desire, they are very much disturbed. Whereas on the contrary, Krishna Bhakta, he is very peaceful because he is completely surrendered to Krishna, and he knows, Krishna will take care of him. There are 6 kinds of Sharanagati. He says, Rakshishyati iti Vishwasaha. He has the firm conviction that Krishna will protect him under any circumstances. It is fact. Even Krishna, not only he protects his own disciples, he is maintaining the whole universe. Now you ask us, like, who is providing the air? Who is providing the water? Who is providing the sunshine? Suppose if the wind stop blowing even for say for 5 minutes, what will happen, right? So it is the Lord who is maintaining everyone. So unto that Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this Shukadeva Goswami is praying here. So to give his strength so that he can speak Srimad Bhagavatam. So, and also in the purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about 4 kinds of sampradaya, authorized sampradaya. One is Brahma Sampradaya, Shiva Sampradaya, then Sri Sampradaya, then Kumara Sampradaya. So these are all authentic Vaishnava Sampradayas. So this is what is mentioned in this verse. We all move to the text 20. Yeah. Okay. Shreyapatir Yagnapatir Prajapatir Diyampatir Lokapatir Dharapatihi Patir Gatis Chandaka Vrishni Sattvatam Prasidatam me Bhagavan Satam Patihi.
Hare Krishna from Kennedy.
Yes, ma'am.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. May Lord Shri Krishna, who is the worshipable Lord of all devotees, the protector and glory of all the kings like Andhaka and Vrishni of the Yadu dynasty, the husband of all goodnesses of fortune, the director of all sacrifices and therefore the leader of all living entities, the controller of all intelligence, the proprietor of all planets, spiritual and material, and the supreme incarnation of the earth, the supreme all in all, be merciful upon me. Purport. Since Shukdev Goswami is one of the prominent Gata Vyalikas, who are freed from all misconceptions, he therefore expresses his own realized perception of Lord Krishna as being the sum total of all perfection, the personality of Godhead. Everyone is seeking the favor of the goddess of fortune, but people do not know that Lord Shri Krishna is the beloved husband of all goddesses of fortune. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that the Lord, in his transcendental abode, Golok Vrindavan, is accustomed to herding the Surabhi cows and is served there by hundreds of thousands of goddesses of fortune. All these goddesses of fortune are manifestations of his transcendental pleasure potency, Hladini Shakti. In his internal energy, and when the Lord manifested himself on the earth, he partially displayed the activities, his pleasure potency in his Ras Leela, just to attract the conditioned souls who are all after the phantasmagoria pleasures, potency in degraded sex enjoyment. The pure devotees of the Lord, like Shukadeva Goswami, who was completely detached from the abominable sex life of the material world, discuss this act of Lord's pleasure potency, certainly not in relation to sex, but to relish a transcendental taste inconceivable to the mundaners who are after sex life. Sex life in the mundane world is the root cause of being conditioned by the shackles of illusion. And certainly Shukdev Goswami was never interested in the sex life of the mundane world. Nor does the manifestation of the Lord's pleasure potency have any connection with such degraded things. Lord Chaitanya was a strict sannyasi, so much so that he did not allow any woman to come near him, nor not even to bow down and offer respects. He never even heard the prayers of the Devdasis offered in the temple of Jagannath, because a sannyasi is forbidden to hear songs sung by the fair sex. Yet, even in the rigid position of sannyasi, he recommended the mode of worship preferred by the gopis of Vrindavan as the topmost loving service possible to be rendered to the Lord. And Srimati Radharani is principal head of the such goddesses of fortune, and therefore she is the pleasure counterpart of the Lord and is non-different from Krishna. In the Vedic rituals, there are recommendations for performing different types of sacrifice in order to achieve the greatest benefit in life. Such benedictions as the results of performing great sacrifices are, after all, favors given by the goddess of fortune, and the Lord, being the husband of lover of the goddess of fortune, is factually the Lord of all sacrifices also. He is the final enjoyer of all kinds of yagna. Therefore, Yagnapati is another name of Lord Vishnu. It is recommended in the Bhagavad Gita that everything be done for the Yagnapati, Yajna, Yagna, Yagnartat, Karam, Karmanaha. For otherwise, one's acts will be the cause of conditioning by the law of material nature. Those who are not freed from all misconceptions will come perform sacrifices to please the manner demigods, but the devotees of the Lord know very well that Lord Shri Krishna is the supreme enjoyer of all performances of sacrifice. Therefore, they perform the Shan Kirtan Yagna, Sarvanam Kirtanam Vishnu, which is especially recommended in the age of Kali. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, which is specially recommended in this age of Kali. In Kali Yuga, performance of other types of sacrifice is not feasible due to insufficient arrangements and inexpert priesthood. We have information from the Bhagavad Gita 3.10 and 11 that Lord Brahma, after giving rebirth to the conditioned souls within the universe, instructed them to perform sacrifices and to lead a prosperous life. With such sacrificial performances, the conditioned souls will never be in difficulty in keeping body and soul together. Ultimately, they can purify their existence. They will find natural promotion into spiritual existence, the real identity of the living being. A conditioned soul should never give up the practice of sacrifice, charity, and austerity in any circumstances. The aim of all such sacrifices is to please the Yanapati, the personality of Godhead. Therefore, the Lord is also Prajapati. According to the Kathopanishad, the one Lord is the leader of the innumerable living entities. The living entities are maintained by the Lord. Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadhati Kaman. The Lord is therefore called the Supreme Bhuta Prut, or maintainer of all living beings. Living beings are proportionately endowed with intelligence in terms of their previous activities. All living beings are not equally endowed with the same quality of intelligence, because behind such development of intelligence is the control of the Lord, as declared in the Bhagavad Gita 15.15. This Paramatma, Super Soul, the Lord, is living in everyone's heart, and from him only does one's power of remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness follow. Mattah Smritil Jnanam Apohanam Cha. One person can sharply remember past activities by the grace of the Lord, while others cannot. One is highly intelligent by the grace of the Lord, and one is fooled by the same control. Therefore, the Lord of Dhyampati, or the Lord of Intelligence. The conditioned souls strive to become lords of the material world. Everyone is trying to lord it over the material's nature by applying his highest degree of intelligence. This misuse of intelligence by the conditioned soul is called madness. One's full intelligence should be applied to get free from the material clutches, but the conditioned soul, due to madness, only engages his full energy and intelligence in sense gratification, and to achieve this end of life, he willfully commits all sorts of misdeeds. The result is that instead of attaining an unconditional life of full freedom. The mad conditioned soul is entangled again and again in different types of bondage in material bodies. Everything we see in the material manifestation is but the creation of the Lord. Therefore, he is the real proprietor of everything in the universe. The conditioned soul can enjoy a fragment of this material creation under the control of the Lord, but not self-sufficiently. Thus, that is the instruction of the Ishopanishad. One should be satisfied with things awarded by the Lord of the universe. It is out of madness only that one tries to encroach upon another share of material possessions. The Lord of the universe, out of his causeless mercy upon the conditioned souls, descends by his own energy, Atma Maya, to re-establish the eternal relation of the conditioned souls with him. He instructs all to surrender unto him instead of falsely claiming to be enjoyed for a certain limit under his control. When he so descends, he proves how much greater is his ability to enjoy, and he exhibits his power of enjoyment by, for instance, marrying 16,000 wives at once. The conditioned soul is very proud of becoming the husband of even one wife, but the Lord laughs at this. The intelligent man can know who is the real husband. Factually, the Lord is the husband of all the women in his creation, but a conditioned soul under the control of the Lord feels proud to be the husband of one or two wives. All these qualifications as the different types of pati mentioned in this verse are meant for Lord Shri Krishna. And Shukadev Goswami has therefore specially mentioned the pati and gati of the Yadu dynasty. The members of the Yadu dynasty knew that the Lord Shri Krishna is everything, and all of them intended to return to Lord Krishna after he had finished his transcendental pastimes on the earth. Yet the Yadu dynasty was annihilated by the will of the Lord because its members had to return home with the Lord. The annihilation of the Yadu dynasty was a material show created by the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, the Lord and the members of the Yadu dynasty are all eternal associates. The Lord is therefore the guide of all devotees, and as such, Shukdev Goswami offered him due respects with love and laden feelings. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. So, yet another purport by Srila Prabhupada. It says, he is the pati of all. Shriya Pati. Shriya Pati means, Shri means Lakshmi. He's the Lakshmi Pati, right? So we know, like in Shima, in Brahma Samhita, it is stated that Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrama Devyamanam Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis are serving the Lord. So that's why he's addressing here as Shriyapatir. Of course, Srila Prabhupada has given elaborated purport. Just I'm summarizing it. Then Yagnapatir. So he is the Yagnapati. He is the benefactor of all sacrifices we perform. So in Bhagavad Gita, what Krishna says, Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhrudam Sarvabhutanam Gnatva Mam Shantim Prichyati. Means Bhoktaram. He is the benefactor of Yagna Tapasam. He is the enjoyer of all the sacrifices that is performed. And Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He is the Maheshwara. He is the Ishvara of all three words. And Suhrudam. And he is a well-wisher of all living entities. If somebody can understand this, then he will attain the peace. This is the peace formula shloka. Then the next, Shukadeva Goswami is addressing the Lord as Prajapati. Prajapati means Prajapatis are the one who engaged in procreation, who spread, who increase the population on the world. So initially the Lord has generated, from Lord comes Brahma. Then Brahma, there are so many sons of Brahma headed by Swayambhuva Manu, then Kumaras, then Lord Shiva. All these people came from Brahmaji. Then Brahmaji ordered them to become the Prajapatis. Of course, Sanat Kumaras, they bluntly refused. And then this Rudra and Swayambhuva Manu, they took up to this Prajapati, the role of Prajapati. Then later on, many Prajapatis follows in the suit. That is Daksha, Then we have Prachina Barhi and all these people, they took up this process of creation. So he's called as Prajapati. Then Diyampati. So he is Diyampati. So Diyam means what? Diyam means, so he is an intelligent person, right? So in whatever the intelligence we all have, it comes from the Lord himself, right? So in Bhagavad Gita, he says, Sarvasya Chaham. From me comes, I'm seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes knowledge and forgetfulness and also remembrance. So today, whatever the intelligence one possesses, it's only because of Krishna. He is Diyampati, and he is the Lokapati. He is the proprietor of all planets that we have already discussed. Bhoktaram Bhoktaram Yagnatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. So everything is from his creation only. Then Dharapati. Dharapati, he is the husband of Mother Earth. So, like when Mother Earth, in fact, one of the reasons why Lord came to this planet is because of the prayers of Mother Earth. She wanted, there was so much burden on the earth. So she prayed along with Brahmaji. So the Lord descended here, and then he has he came here, he incarnated here, and he relieved the burdens of the earth. Then Dharapati, then is Dharapati, then Pathir Gatischa. So he is the destination of all. So, there is another verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, which says, Vasudevam Param Gati. So ultimate shelter is Krishna. And, then what else he says? Chandaka Vrishni Satvatam. He is also the one of the king of Yadu dynasty and the Vrishni Yadava dynasties. And Satvatampati means Yadus, and Prasiditam, be merciful unto me. So his Shukadev Goswami is praying with this prayer to bless him. Okay. So we'll move on to the verse number 21.
Prabhu, what is the meaning of this first sentence in the purport? Since Sukdev Goswami is one of the prominent Gata Vyalikas who are freed from all misconceptions.
Yeah, so the Valikas, it's a what you call, they are the followers of this Sanatana Dharma. Like, like we like it's a designation, Prabhu, which it's a sect of people, like, we says, the priest, right? The Brahmanas, in Brahmanas there is one sect which is called as priest. Okay. Similarly, these Valikas, they are well versed in all the Shastras, and basically they have they know the scripture very well. Even if you go to the Tirupati temple, these are the people who worship the Lord, Valikas. Okay. So maybe in some other time we can have much discussion on this. Is that okay, bro?
Yes, please.
Yeah, we will move to text number 21. Okay. Yad angri abhidanya samadhi tu dyautaya diyyanupashyati tattvamatmanaha vadanti chaitat kavayo yatarucham Same Mukando Bhagavan Prasiditam.
Hare Krishna, translation. It is the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who gives liberation. By thinking of his lotus feet at every second, following in the footsteps of authorities, the devotee in trance can see absolute truth. The learned mental speculators, however, think of him according to their whims. May the Lord be pleased with me. Purport. The mystic yogis, after a strenuous effort to control the senses, senses may be situated in a trance of yoga just to have a vision of the super soul within everyone. But the pure devotee, simply by remembering the Lord's lotus feet at every second, at once becomes established in real trance, because by such realization his mind and intelligence are completely cleansed of the diseases of material enjoyment. The pure devotee thinks himself fallen into the ocean of birth and death, and incessantly prays to the Lord to lift him up. He only aspires to become a speck of transcendental dust at the lotus feet of the Lord. The pure devotee, by the grace of the Lord, absolutely lost all attraction for material enjoyment and keeps free from contamination. He always thinks of the lotus feet of the Lord. King Kulashekara, a great devotee of the Lord, prayed, Krishna Tvadiya Pada Pankaja Panjarantam Adyaiva me Visatu Manasa Rajahamsa Prana Prayana Samaye Kapavata Pitta Kantavarodhana Vidahu Smaranam Kutaste. My Lord Krishna, I pray that the swan of my mind may immediately sink down to the stems of the lotus feet of your Lordship and be locked in their network. Otherwise, at the time of my final breath, when my throat is choked up with cough, how will it be possible to think of you? There is an intimate relationship between the swan and the lotus stem. So the comparison is very appropriate. Without becoming a swan, a Paramahamsa, one cannot enter into the network of the lotus feet of the Lord. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, the mental speculators, even by dint of learned scholarship, cannot even dream of the absolute truth by speculating over it for eternity. The Lord reserves the right of not being exposed to such mental speculators. And because they cannot enter into the network stem of the lotus feet of the Lord, all mental speculators differ in the conclusions. And at the end, they make a useless compromise by saying as many conclusions as many ways. According to one's own inclination, Yadarucham, but the Lord is not like a shopkeeper trying to please all sorts of customers in the mental speculator exchange. The Lord is what He is, the absolute personality of Godhead, and He demands absolute surrender unto Him only. The pure devotee, however, by following the ways of previous acharyas or authorities, can see the Supreme Lord through the transparent medium of bona fide spiritual master, and Anupasayanti. The pure devotee never tries to see the Lord by mental speculation, but by following in the footsteps of the Acharyas Mahajano Enagata Se Panta. Therefore, there is no difference of conclusions amongst the Vaishnava Acharyas regarding the Lord and the devotees. Lord Chaitanya asserts that the living entity Jiva is eternally the servitor of the Lord, and that he is simultaneously one with and one different from the Lord. This tattva of Lord Chaitanya is shared by all four sampradayas of Vaishnava school, all accepting eternal servitude to the Lord even after salvation. And there is no authorized Vaishnava Acharya who may think of the Lord and himself as one. This humbleness of the pure devotee, who is 100% engaged in his service, puts the devotee of the Lord in a trance by which to realize everything. Because to the sincere devotee of the Lord reveals himself, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 10.10. The Lord, being the Lord of intelligence in everyone, even in the non-devotee, favors his devotee with proper intelligence, so that automatically the pure devotee is enlightened with the factual truth about the Lord and his different energies. The Lord is revealed not by one's speculative power or by one's verbal jugglery over the absolute truth. Rather, he reveals himself to a devotee when he is fully satisfied by the devotee's service attitude. Sukadeva Goswami is not a mental speculator or a compromiser of the theory of as many ways, as many conclusions. Rather, he prays to the Lord only, invoking his transcendental pleasure. That is the way of knowing the Lord. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhu. Again, in this verse also, Shukadeva is praying. In summary, he is praying to give. The Krishna is the one who gives the liberation, and he will be purified meditating on his lotus feet. Devotees see the absolute truth, but mental speculators think of him according to their own whims. But Shukadeva Goswami is not like that. He is a pure devotee. He is he is thinking as one who gives the liberation, and when you meditate on him, your consciousness will be purified. And also, like in this verse, in the Stopat, Srila Prabhupada quotes a verse from Mukunda Mala Stotra by King Kulashekara. It's a Srila Prabhupada's favorite verse. It talks, like Krishna Tvadiya Padapankaja Panjarantam. So our minds, always hankering here and there. But here the Kulashekara Alvar is praying. So prana prayana samaye kaphavata chittai. So when I am dying, so my breath will be choked up with kapha, vata and pitta. So then that time, how can I think of you? Now I am having a healthy body. Please engage my mind in your service. He is praying like that. So this Prabhupada quotes here. And and also, like all the, in Bhagavad Gita 10.10, it is stated that Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. So we get the right intelligence from the Lord. So Lord is the one who gives all this. So we'll move to the text number 22. Yeah. Prachoditayena pura saraswati vitanvatajasya satim smrutim hrudi swalakshana pradurbrut kilasyataha Same Rushinam Rushyabha Prasidatam.
Translation. May the Lord, who is the beginning of the creation, amplified the potent knowledge of Brahma from within his heart and inspired him, and with full knowledge of creation and of his own self, and who appeared to be generated from the mouth of Brahma, be pleased with one. As we have already discussed herein above, the Lord as the supersoul of all living beings, from Brahma to the insignificant ant, endows all with this required knowledge potent in every living being. A living being is sufficiently potent to possess knowledge from the Lord in the proportion of 50, 60, 50, 64, or 68% of the full knowledge acquirable. Since the living being is constitutionally part and parcel of the Lord, he is unable to assimilate all the knowledge that the Lord possesses himself. In the conditioned stage, the living being is subject to forgetting everything after a change of body, known as death. This potent knowledge is again inspired by the Lord from within the heart of every living being, and is known as the awakening of the knowledge. For it is comparable to awakening from sleep or unconsciousness. This awakening of knowledge is under the full control of the Lord, and therefore we find in the practical world different grades of knowledge in different persons. This awakening of knowledge is neither an automatic nor a material interaction. The supply source of is the Lord himself. Dhyam Pathi. For even Brahma is also subject to this regulation of the Supreme Creator. In the beginning of the creation, Brahma is born first without any father and mother, because before Brahma there were no other living beings. Brahma is born from the lotus which grows from the abdomen of the Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and therefore he is known as Aja. This Brahma or Aja is also a living being, part and parcel of the Lord. But being the most pious devotee of the Lord, Brahma is inspired by the Lord to create subsequent to the main creation of the Lord by the Lord, through the agency of material nature. Therefore, neither the material nature nor Brahma is independent of the Lord. The material scientists can merely observe the reactions of the material nature without understanding the direction behind such activities. As a child can see the action of electricity without any knowledge of the powerful engineer. The imperfect knowledge of the material scientist is due to a poor fund of knowledge. The Vedic knowledge was therefore first impregnated from within Brahma, and it appears that Brahma distributed this Vedic knowledge. Brahma is undoubtedly the speaker of the Vedic knowledge, but actually he was inspired by the Lord to receive such transcendental knowledge as it directly descends from the Lord. The Vedas are therefore called Apurva Seva, Seya, or not imparted by any created being. Before the creation of the Lord, there were Narayan Provaktya, and therefore the words spoken by the Lord are vibrations of transcendental sound. There is a gulf of difference between the two qualities of sound, namely Prakrit and Aprakrit. The psychist who can deal only with the Prakrit sound or sound vibrated in the material sky, and therefore we must know that the Vedic sounds recorded in symbolic expression cannot be understood by anyone within the universe unless and until one is inspired by the vibration of supernatural aprakrit sound, which descends in the chain of disciplic succession from the Lord to Brahma, from Brahma to Narad, from Narad to Vyas, and so on. No mundane scholar can translate or reveal the true import of the Vedic mantras, hymns. They cannot be understood unless one is inspired or initiated by the authorized spiritual master. The original spiritual master is the Lord Himself, and the succession comes down through the sources of parampara, as clearly stated in the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So, unless one receives the transcendental knowledge from the authorized parampara, one should not be considered useless, nisfal mata, even though one may be greatly qualified in the mundane advancements of arts and science. Sri Sukdev Goswami is praying to the Lord by dint of being inspired from within by the Lord, so that he could rightly explain the facts and figures of creation as inquired by Maharaj Parikshit. A spiritual master is not a theoretical speculator like the mundane scholar, but is Shrutyam Brahma Nishthan. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Again, in this verse is also he is glorifying Krishna as amplified the potent knowledge of Brahma from within his heart and inspired him in creation. So, like also he says, he appeared to be generated from Brahma's mouth. So, Brahma's mouth means what? What does it mean? Like initially, when nobody was there, Lord impregnated the knowledge to him. We have seen in the very first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, Tene Brahma Prudaya Adi Kavaye. So he gives this knowledge. Then further, he comes out through the Brahma's mouth in the form of Vedas. That's what Shukadeva Goswami is praying for him here. And also, he have, the Guru Parampara is stressed out. Like, if we don't take up to any particular Guru Parampara, so the mantra, though we know the mantra, but it doesn't come from the authorized scripture, it will become nishpala. It doesn't have any effect. That's the key point from this verse. We'll move on to the verse number 23. Yeah. Bhutermahabhirya ima puro vibhu nirmaya te yad amushu purushaha Bhunkte gunan shodasha shodasatmakaha Solankratista Bhagavan vachamsi me.
I'll read, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Translation. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who enlivens the materially created bodies of the elements by lying down within the universe, and who in his Purusha incarnation causes the living being to be subjected to the 16 divisions of material modes, which are his generator, be pleased to decorate my statements. Purport. As a fully dependent devotee, Sukadeva Goswami, unlike a mundane man who is proud of his own capability, invokes the pleasure of the personality of Godhead so that his statements may be successful and be appreciated by the hearers. hearers. The devotee always thinks of himself as an instrumental for anything successfully carried out, and he declines to takes credit for anything done by himself. The godless atheist wants to take all credit for activities, not knowing that even a blade of grass cannot move without the sanction of the Supreme Spirit, the personality of Godhead. Sukadeva Goswami therefore wants to move by the direction of the Supreme Lord, who inspired Brahma to speak the Vedic wisdom. The truths described in the Vedic literatures are not theories of mundane imagination, nor they fictitious, as the less intelligent class of men sometimes think. The Vedic truths are all perfect descriptions of the factual truth without any mistake or illusion. And Sukadeva Goswami wants to present the truths of the creation not as a metaphysical theory of philosophical speculation, but as the actual facts and figures of the subject. Since he would be dictated to by the Lord exactly the same manner as Brahmaji was inspired. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 15.15, the Lord is himself the father of the Vedanta knowledge, and it is he only who knows the factual purport of the Vedanta philosophy. So there is no greater truth than the principles of religion mentioned in the Vedas. Such Vedic knowledge or religion is disseminated by authorities like Sukadeva Goswami because he is a humble devotional servitor of the Lord who has no desire to become a self-appointed interpreter without authority. That is the way of explaining the Vedic knowledge, technically known as parampara system or descending process. The intelligent man can see without mistake that any material creation, whether one's own body or a fruit or flower, cannot beautifully grow up without the spiritual touch. The greatest intelligent man of the world or the greatest man of science can present everything very beautifully only in so far as the spirit life is there, or in so much as the spiritual touch is there. Therefore, the source of all truths is the Supreme Spirit and not gross matter, as wrongly conceived by the gross materialist. We get information from the Vedic literature that the Lord Himself first entered the vacuum of the material universe, and thus all things gradually developed one after another. Similarly, the Lord is situated as localized Paramatma in every individual being. Hence, everything is done by him very beautifully. The 16 principal creative elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, sky, and the 11 sense organs, first developed from the Lord Himself and were thereby shared by the living entities. Thus, the material elements were created for the enjoyment of the living entities. The beautiful arrangement beyond all material manifestations is therefore made possible by the energy of the Lord, and the individual living entity can only pray to the Lord to understand it properly. Since the Lord is a supreme entity, different from Sukadeva Goswami, the prayer can be offered to him. The Lord helps the living entity to enjoy material creation, but he is aloof from such false enjoyment. Sukadeva prays for the mercy of the Lord, not only for being helped personally in presenting the truth, but also for helping others to whom he would like to speak. Jai Srila Prabhupada. You are on mute, Prabhuji.
Yeah, sorry. In this verse, Shukadeva Goswami is praying, about the Supreme Lord who enlivens the material bodies by lying down from the universal and as the Purusha causes of the living entities, and may he be pleased to decorate my words with literary ornaments and qualities invoking Madhurya, Karunya, and other rasas to bring joy to the listener. And also here Prabhupada makes beautiful point, like, we, like in the present age, we people tend to boast ourselves. We have achieved something, I have done. But here Shukadeva Goswami, he is not taking any credit. Everything he is offering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That should be the mode of the devotee. So just we'll take another 10 minutes. Is it okay? We can close. We have 2 more verses. Is it okay with everyone?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
Prabhuji.
Fine.
Yeah. Quickly we'll go through this. Verse number 24. Namastasmai Bhagavate Vasudevaya Vedase Papur Gnanam Ayam Saumya Yanmukamburo Hashavam.
Translation Purport by Sri Prabhupada Ji. Jai Sri Prabhupada Ji. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Sri Vyasadeva, the incarnation of Vasudev, who compiled the Vedic scriptures. The pure devotees drink up the nectarian transcendental knowledge dropping from the lotus-like mouth of the Lord. Purport. In pursuance of the specific utterance, Vedhase, or the compiler of the system of transcendental knowledge, Sri Sridhar Swami has commented that the respectful obeisances are offered to Sri Vyasadeva, who is incarnation of Vasudev. Sri Jiva Goswami has agreed to this, but Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has made a further advancement, namely that the nectar from the mouth of Lord Krishna is transferred to his different consorts, and thus they learn the finer arts of music, dance, dressing, decorations, and all such things which are relished by the Lord. Such music, dance, and decorations enjoyed by the Lord are certainly not anything mundane, but the Lord is addressed in the very beginning as para or transcendental. This transcendental knowledge is unknown to the forgotten conditioned souls. Sri Vyasadeva, who is the incarnation of the Lord, thus compiled the Vedic literature to revive the lost memory of the conditioned souls about their eternal relation with the Lord. One should therefore try to understand the Vedic scriptures or the nectar transferred by the Lord to his consorts in the conjugal human from the lotus-like mouth of Vyasdev or Shukadev. By gradual development of transcendental knowledge, one can rise to the stage of the transcendental arts of music and dance displayed by the Lord in his Ras Leela. But without having the Vedic knowledge, one can hardly understand the transcendental nature of the Lord's Ras dance and music. The pure devotees of the Lord, however, can equally relish the nectar in the form of the profound philosophical discourses and in the form of kissing by the Lord in the Ras dance, as there is no mundane distinction between the two. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. So here again, Shukadeva Goswami is offering his obeisances to Vasudeva, the incarnation of Vasudeva, who compiled Vedic scripture. Devotees drink the nectar of Krishna's topics dropping from the Lord's lotus mouth. So in the 3rd verse we saw, like Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhuraho Rasika Bhuvibavukaha. This the sweet nectar of the Vedic tree, the nectar from the Srimad Bhagavatam is relishable. It's from the ripened fruit of Vedic knowledge. So that's what it's there. And we'll move on to the last verse for the day. Okay. Etad evatmabhurajan naradhaya viprachate Vedagarbho abhyadat sakshat yadaha hariratmanaha.
I'll read, Prabhuji. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. My dear King, Brahma, the firstborn, on being questioned by Narada, exactly aspired him on this subject as it had been directly spoken by the Lord to his own son, who was impregnated with Vedic knowledge from his very birth. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. As soon as Brahma was born of the abdominal lotus petal of Vishnu, he was impregnated with Vedic knowledge, and therefore he is known as Veda Garbha, or the Vedantist from the embryo. Without Vedic knowledge or perfect infallible knowledge, no one can create anything. All scientific knowledge and perfect knowledge are Vedic. One can get all types of information from the Vedas, and as such, Brahma was impregnated with all perfect knowledge so that it was possible for him to create. Thus, Brahma knew the perfect description of creation, as it was exactly apprised to him by the Supreme Lord Hari, Brahma. On being questioned by Narada, told Narada exactly what he had heard directly from the Lord. Narada again told exactly the same thing to Vyasa, and Vyasa also told Sukadev exactly what he had heard from Narada. And Sukadev was going to repeat the same statements as he had heard them from Vyasa. That is the way of Vedic understanding. The language of the Vedas can be revealed only by the above mentioned discipline, a disciplic succession, and not otherwise. There is no use in theories. Knowledge must be factual. There are many things that are complicated, and one cannot understand them unless they are explained by one who knows. The Vedic knowledge is also very difficult to know and must be learned by the above mentioned system. Otherwise, it is not at all understood. Sukadev Goswami, therefore, prayed for the mercy of the Lord so that he might be able to repeat the very same message that was spoken directly by the Lord to Brahma, or what was directly spoken by Brahma to Narada. Therefore, the statements of creation explained by Sukadev Goswami are not at all, as the mundaners suggest, theoretical, but are perfectly correct. One who hears these messages and tries to assimilate them gets perfect information of the material creation. Thus, end the Bhakti Vedanta purports of the second canto, fourth chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Process of Creation. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. So in this verse, he said, "O Parikshit, I will answer your question by quoting the Brahma Narada Samvada." So in Srimad Bhagavatam, we find this often. Directly, Shukadeva Goswami is not telling, okay, I will tell you. He refers to the conversation between Narada and Brahma. So from there, he is citing these examples. So that's the way of, following the Guru Parampara system. In many places in Srimad Bhagavatam becomes that. So when Vasudeva asked Narada how one will attain the Supreme Lord. Though Krishna was born in the house of Vasudeva, but he did not take that advantage. So then when finally he started lamenting, when it's a time for Lord to leave this world, that time he laments and he asks Narad Muni. That Narad Muni quotes the discussion between Navayogendras and Maharaja Nimi. So this is the way we find in so many places. So here also from the next chapter we are going to see the Samvada. We will see how Narada, the conversation between Narada and Brahma about this your creation. Okay, thank you so much. We went a little over time today, so apologies. Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrundi ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premananda.
Very good. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
And
Thank you,
my
Prabhu.
apologies, Prabhu. Meaning today is that last
Thank you, Prabhu.
of the previous schedule that I had prepared, which had a little bit extra verses in the schedule. So that I have corrected as a mistake in the next schedule. So from this chapter onwards, fifth onwards, we will have less number of verses per class. Sorry for that.
Okay, Prabhu.
Anybody has any quick question? We are already late. In case we have one question, we can.
No questions, Prabhu.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Sorry, one small query. Prabhu, in one of the slokas, Shukdev Goswami is saying that Vedas are called Aparusheya. Aparusheya. Why is it that Aparusheya? Because Krishna is the only Purush we have read in Bhagavad Gita.
No. Yeah. Apaurusheya means it is not spoken by any mundane person like us. Like he is the Supreme Lord. It came from him and it never changes. Like this modern theories we study in Mataji, like, it keep on evolving and they keep on revising. Even now that, like when we were student, we read about the Einstein's theory of relativity. E is equal to mc square. Now the current, they are going to disapprove that theory. So they are coming with new and new things. Whereas the words which is spoken by Lord, it's called as Apaurusheya, means which is not spoken by any Purusha. So he is the Lord himself. So it will never change. So that's what it means. You have more
Prabhu,
information?
my question is that that Lord Krishna has to be like in Bhagavad Gita, we are reading that Bhagwan is the only Purush. Then why Aparusheya?
So that, there we are referring to Purusha in the sense of enjoyer, Mataji. The definition what is given there. So like Prakriti and Purusha, there we are comparing Krishna to the Purusha.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but here Krishna is Purusha, Apaurusheya, right? He doesn't have any father or mother, right? So that's what it is. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
So you have more information when you read the introduction to Ishopanishad. Prabhupada clearly writes Apaurusheya meaning.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you all for joining. See you
Hare
next.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you.